If we are to use present terms and the language, I would say that I am from Delta State. But using today's terms and language, I would say that I'm from Anambra. Meanwhile, I'll give you a little snippet of the story. My community, my townspeople, or some of them, pride ourselves on being OZ City. Our ancestors lived in Ubulu, Okiti. Then we crossed the Niger, probably due to pressure from Benin. And today, part of our community lies between Owerri and Onitsha in what you call Anambra State. The story is simple. I repeat what I say, the story is a very straightforward and simple story. We are living in the place you would call Igbo Delta today. That's where we were living. We have not forgotten our history. When our people were much more serious about Omenana, that's the title of our religion and culture, during the New Year festival, we will take some offerings to our brothers and sisters that remained in Delta.
When people say we are not Igbos, I wonder, how do they plan to separate me from all the Ubulu communities in western part of Igbo land and all Ubulu communities in the eastern parts of Igbo land? I am from Ubuluku, from the first royal family in Ubuluku. I am a son and descendant of Ezemu, the founder of Ubulu Kingdom. I am directly a son of Obiolise, conqueror of Benin Kingdom. How do you plan to separate me from my brothers from Ozubulu, Ubulu Ekwe, Ubulu Ihejofo, Ubulu Oru, that is Ubulu Ihejofo, Okovoro, Ubulu Isiuzo, Ubulu Haozara, and all other Ubulu communities in the eastern part of Igbo land? How do you intend to separate me from them? By telling us that we in western Igbo land are less Igbo, or that we are not Igbo. I am an Igbo man, not because of the quest for the creation of an Igbo state. I have been an Igbo man from birth, and I will continue to be an Igbo man and project the Igbo cultural identity. Today, I want you to join me as we look at the history of the people of Ozubulu from the lens of none other than Remi Ilona, a renowned author, Esther Nwogwonuwe Wright, author of the book, The Story of Ubulu Kingdom. Enjoy watching this video and ensure that you watch this video to the very last minute. Enjoy watching.
If we are to use present terms and the language, I would say that I am from Delta State. But using today's terms and language, I would say that I'm from Anambra. Meanwhile, I'll give you a little snippet of the story. My community, my townspeople, or some of them, pride ourselves on being OZ City. Our ancestors lived in Ubulu, Okiti. Then we crossed the Niger, probably due to pressure from Benin. And today, part of our community lies between Owerri and Onitsha in what you call Anambra State. The story is simple. I repeat what I say, the story is a very straightforward and simple story. We are living in the place you would call Igbo Delta today. That's where we were living. We have not forgotten our history. When our people were much more serious about Omenana, that's the title of our religion and culture, during the New Yam Festival, we will take some offerings to our brothers and sisters that remained in Delta. So, I urge our brothers and sisters that remained in Delta, got influenced much more by Benin, or got influenced by Benin more than the others that left, to recognize that Benin was an empire, and inside Benin lived a lot of people. Benin was like the British Empire. Nigerians, all the ethnicities in Nigeria, we are part of that empire. Will they now begin to say that we are ethnically Britons? If you find yourself in Delta, but your language, you can forget about whoever says Bia. Bia is just a term. I'm talking of language. When I was a young man, one of our tenants was from Kwale. I'm talking about when I was really young. One of our tenants was from Kwale. I don't know if it is Kwale's name if it was Kwale, that has been transformed to Kwale. But then, we did not think that he was not Igbo, and he did not think that he was not Igbo, and we did not think that we were different people, and we did not need translators or interpreters to understand each other's tongues. But as I said, I'm a historian. I fully understand what's going on. The Igbo people, for much of their history that they recall, have faced defeats, humiliations. So, those that could deny that identity want to deny it. Moreover, due to consistent persecution, a lot of Igbos have turned against the Igbo nation, making the Igbo people to lag behind, making the Igbo people to underperform. So, if you can get the goods from the more dominant and stronger ethnic groups in Nigeria, why wouldn't you deny you are Igbo? If you get a bank license, if you get permission to build a university, if you'll be welcomed into circles that Igbos ordinarily will not be welcomed, and you are Igbo, and you can deny that you are Igbo, I think it's, I won't use the term natural, I think it happens that people want the easier way out. Oneko, when our sister, the songstress that died a few months ago, said she was sure that if she was not Igbo, if she was Yoruba or Hausa or Fulani, that she would have been patronized more by the Nigerian state and by
And today we are looking at the history of Ozubulu, Ubulu, Ubulu Ubulu isi ụzọ, oke uvuru, Ubulu ọha ọzara, and all other Ubulu communities in Igbo land. I am particularly from Ubuluku, and I'm going to read a brief history of Ozubulu to you. I am reading from the Story of Ubulu Kingdom, a well-researched work, a book that took at least 10 years of research before it was published. Thank you, my brother from Liverpool. It's nice to have you on board. It's nice to have you on board. If it is too loud, it's because I'm using a microphone, and we would rather have it loud than not loud at all, okay? So sorry for my manners. I thought it was all these detractors. So, origin of Ozubulu, I'm going to read. Just carefully listen. Ozubulu is one of the towns that claim Ubuluku as its place of origin. According to Ajebo, Ozubulu traditions reveal that the town was peopled by 5 waves of migrations. First, there was the Oolo, Ikono, and Amahike waves of migration. The survivors of these groups claim to be the earliest inhabitants of the land. Ajebo went further to explain that the second wave from Ubulu, a town in present-day Delta State of Nigeria, this group of migrants from Ubulu constitute the most important of all the later waves of migrations into the area now known as Ozubulu. There is a consensus in Ozubulu that the bulk of the people who now inhabit the town are descendants of this group of migrants from Ubulu. Available evidence has also shown that it was the immigrants who founded the town and imposed the name on it. Of course, Ubulu was an existing town. Ubulu was an existing town as well. Ubulu Kiti was an existing town before we had Ozubulu. Also, a titled man from Ubulu established this community called Ozubulu, hence the name. So continuing, the progenitor of the town, Oza of Ubulu, whose name the town bears, migrated from Ubulu approximately around 17th century. The consensus reached by both Ubulu and Ozubulu people is that Oza, a warrior, was the leader of the group that left from Ubulu and founded Ozubulu. The suffix Ubulu attached to the name Oza is derived from Ubulu, the ancestral home of Oza. The Igbo in Council of Ozubulu explained that the name of their town is pronounced as Ozubulu from Oza Ubulu, and certainly not meaning another Ubulu, as often misinterpreted. Please, if you're just joining us, we are looking at the history of Ozubulu, an Ubulu community in southeast part of Nigeria, and their relationship with other Ubulu towns, especially the parent home of Ubulu in Anyocha South local government area of Delta State. If you're just joining us, kindly double tap on this video to give it a thumbs up. Also share it to your audience. If this is your first time of coming across our videos, please subscribe to the channel. Let's continue, and I'll read your comments a few minutes later. On the other hand, there appears to be varied accounts of history of the origin of these earlier settlers. Some writers wrote that the ancestor of our Oolo people, one of the earliest inhabitants of Ozubulu, is believed to be a man called Oolo in Ozubulu. They represent only an insignificant part of the entire population, but they command a very high esteem in the town. Another version has it that the Ikono people, like the Oolo, are believed also to be one of the earliest groups in the area that became Ozubulu. The name of their ancestor was Ikonoji. Currently, they are found in Nza, or Nza, the presumed warriors. The youngest village in Ozubulu, they are also. They form a distinct patrilineage, but are incorporated mainly into the minor lineage of Ugwuoguma. Unlike the Oolo and the Ikono groups, Amahike people trace their origin from Unri. Their ancestor, Uhike, settled in the present day area as one of the earliest people. He was said to be a palm wine tapper. These early inhabitants, Oolo, Ikono, and Amahike, joined by Oza, believed to have arrived with other 9 immigrant groups: Odeda, Unogu, Amokbala, Isiofo, Akwo, Mbeneke, Ubahu, Okutu, and Abai from Ubuluku to form the 12 groups that established Ozubulu. Hence, the derivation of the designation Ozubulu. Ozubulu is a place of 12 tribes. Just like most communities that are Igbo speaking are a place of 9 tribes. Ozubulu is Eben Irinabo. That is their nickname. Ozubulu Eben Irinabo, a place of 12 tribes. Oral sources affirm that Oza, a warrior, subdued the earlier settlers. He intermingled with these earlier groups, bringing their number to 12 entities. These 12 entities agreed to stay as one, the last settlers having accepted to protect the others in case of any wars. Another source claimed that they went into a covenant that involved the burying of 12 earthen pots at the shrine in an deity. Each pot represented each group. This story is affirmed by Igwe in council in Ozubulu. That covenant made at Oriakpo stipulated that none will kill each other again and none will shed blood of another, as there were now relations. There was a tree around which they made the covenant known as Uboofo. All component parts were buried there as a covenant to become one entity. Those involved in the Ozubulu covenant, Ajebo claimed, were Oolo, Ikolo, Amahike Odeda, Ulogu, Amaopala, Isiofo, now Emon Isiofo, Akwa, Mbeneke, Ubahu, Okutu, and Abai. Today, 4 are in existence. The other 8 have fizzled into the 4 main areas of Ozubulu. If you're just joining us, we are looking at the history of the origins of the place called Ozubulu, founded by Oza and Ozo from Ubuluku. I had argued while discussing with one of my friends from Ozubulu that Ubuluku people do not give the Ozo title. It is Ubulu Kingdom that has Ozo title. But I was also educated. Ozo means title holder, chief. So whatever we call it, the person is an Ozo title holder. And interestingly, we will get to find out the title that Oza held in Ubuluku. We will even get to know which quarter did he migrate away from and what was he in Ubuluku before he migrated. If you're just joining us, kindly double tap on this video to give it a thumbs up. We are looking to also get as many subscribers as we can. So please share this video to your audience. Share it to the WhatsApp groups of Igbo people that you belong to. Invite friends and family to come and follow this platform where we learn Igbo history. Now, I am beginning to discuss relationship between Igbo communities, both west and east of the River Niger, so that nobody can jump out tomorrow again to say we are not Igbos, when your history is saying a different thing. Let's look at the man, Oza, his personality. Oza, like everyone in Aniobolo, had a migratory route as gathered from oral traditions. The ancestors of Oza were migrants from Anidu that first tried to settle in a community located in Anyocha North local government area of Delta State. But because of the non-welcoming attitude, left from there and settled in Ubuluku. Wow. Wow. History is so sweet. Why I'm shouting wow, 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 like a government truck is this? Government patrol van is this? I have been to this other community they are talking about in Akuku Igbo. I have also met with the family where Oza stayed before he came to Oolo. But let me continue this reading. Mind you, I'm not the author of this book I'm reading, but I'm just confirming what the author wrote. That Oza's family stayed in somewhere in Anyocha North. That place is Akuku Igbo. And I don't think, is it to do with Uboko? It's Akuku Igbo, not Anyocha North. It's in Oshumili. It's in Oshumili. Akuku Igbo is in Oshumili. The family called Mokpai family in Akuku Igbo. But let me continue. That's where Oza stayed first before he came to Ubulu. The ancestors of Oza were from Anidu that first settled in a community located in Anyocha North local government area of Delta State. But because of the non-welcoming attitude left from there and settled in Ubulu, Oza grew into a strong young man, had many wives and children. The word Oza bears semblance to a Benin name as well. An example of such a name was mentioned by Ereva in his book, A Short History of Benin, while referring to Obaeware. Ereva noted, the reign of Eware was notable for the number of famous magicians. They were Umweohi, Ezuku of Ogan, Oza of Benin City. This reference could explain the word Oza as a Benin name. Oza's ancestors had, like the Onwa Ashama, distinguished themselves and were naturalized and absorbed into Ubulu mainstream as citizens and as warriors. In later years, Oza was made a chief in the palace of Ubulu Kingdom and became referred as Oza Odogwu. So Oza invariably became one of the oldest bearers of the Odogwu title in Ubulu. Yes, there is an Ocha in Anambra. I'm very much aware of that. And the song by Ozubulu Brothers. I know that song too. Okay, so continuing. When you hear me say Benin, don't feel any way. There were Igbo people in Benin, so Oza was definitely one of them with his family. So they migrated to this area. So let me continue by saying that Oza was then known as Ozo Odogwu. His greeting was Abe. So people salute him by calling him out his chieftaincy title Odogwu and greet him Abe. With time, his title and greeting took over his name, and so he became referred to as Odogwu Abe or Oza Odogwu Abe, and was a member of the Okwiyese. Explaining further, Nkwo Omogolo explained, this is an elder, that Oza lived in Isho quarters, from where he eventually migrated from Aniobolo with so many people from different families and people loyal to him, including some chiefs, wives, relations, and domestic help. Why Oza left Ubulu? Now, this area is very, very unique and sometimes kept a secret. The reason why Oza left Ubulu. If you're just seeing our video and you are not yet a subscriber to this channel, kindly please hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. And if you're seeing the video actively, please double tap on the video to give it thumbs up. We have over 63 people watching and just 6 thumbs up. It's very poor. It's not even half, not even a quarter. Double tap on the video to give it thumbs up. We are looking at histories of various Ubulu communities in Igbo land, both east and west of the river Niger. So we are looking at now why Oza left Ubulu, which is a very interesting history. Oral history has it that a prince Oza committed crime that amounted to Iyaja, which meant an abomination punishable by death or banishment from the land for 7 years. Oza, though a member of Okwiyese, that's the world group, had, according to Princess Henrietta Adogwashi, Jibono Ne Obanwa, decided, like some other chiefs, not to engage in war against Benin people because of Ubulu ancestral root and the covenant between Ubulu and Benin that some domestic decisions his stand on the war was revealed by one of his wives to her family, Umuobi, that's the royal family. Thus, Oza was accused of insubordination to the throne and called a traitor, but was also punishable by death. Oza, a great warrior, felt betrayed and in anger cut his pregnant wife down. The community termed this as double murder. Omogolo claimed that for this reason, a conspiracy to buy Oza was hatched by Umuobi, his in-laws, with the help of the Idoloma, the executioners. But despite his crime against the land, the plan was revealed to Oza. He left Ubulu that night, traveling towards Ishiago. This was during the Ubulu-Benin War of 1750. On arrival, Oza sent a message to his trusted friends informing them of his safe arrival to Ishiago. A few days later, the king, who also loved Oza, sent word to Oza to move on across the river so he could be located. Across the river, as he could be located, he would not be responsible for his death. Oza left Ishiago, moved towards the river Niger into Atani, and finally to present place called Ozubulu. It is believed that the killing of his pregnant wife was what took Oza out of Ubuluku to return only 7 years after, but he moved to present day Ozubulu and never returned. Interesting, right? That's the history of Ozubulu. There are so many other Ubulu communities like Ubulu Ihejofo, Ubulu Oru, that's Ubulu Ihejofo, Ubulu Ekwe, Ubulu Isiuzo, Ubulu Ntu, Okovoro in Imo State, Ubulu Ikem in present day Anambra State or around Onitsha, Uburu in Ebonyi, Ubulu Ozara in Enugu. There are so many Ubulu affiliated communities east and west of the river Niger, and they are all Igbo people. The narration of the history of Oza now will make somebody think Oza was a Benin man. If he was a Benin man, he would not have moved away from Benin to Igbo land. He is still among this group of returning Igbos that I class as Akalaka, Ezechima people. And then this Oza held the title of Odogu. One of my Benin bloggers, a friend, tried to reply me about my video concerning the Iyase and Odogu titles. When I wrote, because there's nothing you will not see from these people, they are claiming the Odogu title as a Benin title, that it is not an Igbo word. They called it Odogu, Odogun, and that it is a Benin title. But it took me a lot of time to clear that. So while my friend who is a Benin blogger was replying me, he made videos in Benin language, in Edo language. I don't understand Benin language. Not even a word in Benin. Wow. Wow, thank you so much. That should be Ubulu in our house. There is also Ubulu all over Okwani and even within Anyocha South where Ubuluku is because of secondary and tertiary migrations. These are Igbo people. I don't know how I will stand because I'm trying to create a video with somebody from Ozubulu. I've met a couple of them, very enlightened, There are people on YouTube here like Remi Ilona, a PhD holder in history. He has his doctorate in history. And he is from Ozubulu. He has made several videos to assert how the people of Ozubulu migrated from Ubuluku. In fact, I'm going to make a video that will help me to share that video that Remi Ilona posted. He is my brother from Ozubulu. What I'm trying to project to you and to everyone who is watching this video today is that there are Igbo people in the east and in the west of the river Niger. Thank you so much, my brother. Odogwu in our own parlance, in Western Igbo land, is a title. It is not a nickname. It is not something you hold somebody with. Odogwu is a warlord, a feared warlord who goes and conquers. So that is why when you see somebody who usually achieves results, they tend to call him Odogwu. Because Odogwu is a result achiever. If you send Odogwu as an emissary to a community, he may return back with his mado to show evidence. That is how Odogwu is, a warlord. So Odogwu is not an ordinary person at all, but he is under Iyase. He's under Oolo, that is Iyase, because Oolo is the defense chief, which some people call prime minister. But here, a king is overarching. Our kings are overarching. They have the power of life and death. Perhaps you can call that the influence we had from our neighbors. But our king is overarching. He can pronounce somebody dead. That is how it used to be. It's not like that anyway these days, but they still have enormous power. So, the people of Ozubulu and all other Ubulu people in the eastern parts of Igbo land are our brothers. We are one and the same.